Give it to 1 minute and then we'll get going. Well, welcome everybody. Good afternoon or good morning to everyone. I'm Angie McGowan. It's great to see you all. Welcome to the December Alliance meeting. We appreciate you all joining us at a little bit different time this month. We know that everything's very busy at the end of the year, and so decided to do this kind of beginning of December event, and are really looking forward to having a chance for this discussion. Just a quick thank you to everybody who joined us at the American Public Health Association 2024 annual meeting in Minneapolis. We haven't met since then, but we really had an incredible turnout. We know a lot of you all were there, and it was great to see you, and really appreciate the lessons and having a chance to talk and engage. For others, we will be sharing lessons over the next, weeks and months to come, but really it was nice to have a chance to get together with our colleagues. As we reflect on the year, though, we also just wanted to recognize the incredible efforts that everybody has made to advance public health and equity. Your work addressing health disparities, supporting communities has really had a meaningful impact. And it's really a privilege to be a part of this work with all of you all in this collective effort. So thank you for all you do. And we also just want to take a little chance this month just to celebrate a bit. But with that, we also know that this is the first time we've had a chance to get together since the elections. And so we also wanted to hold some space at the end of the discussion to let everybody have a chance to think about the public health landscape, to think about what we're all doing and have a chance to share how we might be able to connect and align. This is a time that, if there ever is one where coming together is going to be important. And so really appreciate having the chance to work with and think with all of you all. For that portion, as I was saying, we'll stop the recording and disable AI just so we can have a really open and candid discussion. You'll go to the next slide, please. The next slide is great. And just one resource we wanted to share with you all. And once again, I know you all also are welcome to share resources, but just wanted to remind you all of our Public Health and Equity Resource Navigator. And recently have a new learning series, which is around advocating for public health. And so it's live on Fern, and the comprehensive learning journey offers an overview of public health advocacy, highlighting current priorities, equitable approaches, and effective strategies to advocate for the public's health. It's really designed to equip users with all the tools and knowledge needed to make it a meaningful impact. Conde is dropping it in the chat, and thank you to Conde and Raya and Ursula, and hopefully you'll all see many of your resources there, and to our colleagues at IP3 for helping pull this together. But this type of thing we hope is helpful to everyone, and would love to hear from you all if these type of tools and others are useful, and how we may be able to expand Fern to make it as useful as possible. If we can get to the next slide. We'll now turn to our discussion for the day. And so we're really excited to have a chance to learn from our speakers from Social Impact Exchange, as well as their partners from Regenerate California Innovation. And so they will have a chance to tell us a little bit about the work they're doing. SIE is a national cross-sector membership association dedicated to generating large-scale social impact through system change, something that I know we're trying to do as part of the Alliance, and know many of you all are also. So I'll do a quick introduction of our speakers, and then I will hand it over to them. So first, Naniqua Blanding is Vice President of Health at Social Impact Exchange. In this role, she leads a national network of funders and nonprofit leaders to help build the field of equitable systems transformation in the health and wellness sector. Mara Khan is the Associate Director of Health, and she supports the Health Affinity Group with the goal of advancing equitable systems change. Keith Berchtold is the founder and CEO of Regenerate California Innovation. He has 49 years of experience in urban and regional planning and land development in California and New Mexico, and more than 8 years as a community organizer, community economic developer in Fresno and the San Joaquin Valley. And Jose Antonio Ramirez is Regenerate California's Innovation Board member. He's dedicated his life to public service, and for over 30 years, he served to improve the economic vitality, strengthen community life, increase education opportunities, and housing affordability for the people and families he served. And he considers himself a change agent and a social entrepreneur. So hopefully you all can tell we're in for a really exciting discussion. And I will now turn it over to them. Thank you all for joining us.
Hello. So can I get started then, Keith?
No,
Hello?
Nina
Yes, sorry,
Clark's
please
going to
do.
start.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jose and Keith. I'll kick us off, but I will promise not to take too long because I really want to create space for all of you to share your exciting work in partnership with us. Hello, everyone. My name is Nainiqua Blanding. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hi,
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hear something? It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much, Angie and the APHA Alliance team, for inviting us. On behalf of Social Impact Exchange, we are really honored to be here and to be part of this work. I want to just create space for my colleague, Mira Khan. We are a small but mighty team of two at Social Impact Exchange, and Mira works very closely with me on our efforts to really advance health systems change. So I just want to give her a moment after your beautiful introductions, Angie, to exchange with all of you. So Mira, please.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mira Khan. I'm really excited to be here today and share our work. A lot of people are not familiar with our model, and so we are really excited. And if you have any questions and want to follow up, please reach out. I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are here to talk about SIE's collective strategies for equitable systems transformation. Before diving into our work and our model, I just want to call attention to both, to this SSIR article that was recently published, as it has personally become a source of inspiration. I know that we are in challenging times, and that there's a myriad of societal challenges that we are facing. And in this one article stated, "These times ask more of us." The authors note that in times of cascading crises, it may feel as if the logic of the world as we know it is crumbling, yet crises can become powerful calls to action, offering moments of opportunity and fresh perspective. So I would like to just acknowledge this and note that we at Social Impact Exchange look forward to leaning in. We are so honored to be invited by the Alliance to speak with you all today, and we will continue to champion alongside partners such as the Alliance to really advance our shared vision for systems change. So I'd like to invite you all, because I know you all are very steeped in systemic change, and just invite you all to take a moment to really think about, which I know you already do probably in your day-to-day, what your vision for change is. And as you are doing so, I just want to encourage you and know that hope still lives here. And I'm excited to really explore with all of you today, both share our model and explore how we might join forces in this work. So just a little bit about Social Impact Exchange. As Angie noted, we are a national cross-sector membership association that's really dedicated to large-scale social impact through systems change. Our approach is to really enable leaders across philanthropy, business, government, nonprofits, and communities to work together to solve complex problems by transforming systems. So how do we do that? Health we have a number of focus areas. We have an area on education and transforming the field of philanthropy. And we have one focus area around health systems change. And at the heart of that work, health equity is really centered in everything that we do. We want to create conditions for all people across all identities to thrive. And so we do this by bringing together leaders of in the philanthropic field, as well as nonprofit leaders to build a shared vision for change. So we have what's called an affinity group, which is really the smallest concentric circle that you see here. And that group has worked well over the last couple of years to identify a shared vision and to also name the different levers that can help to advance that shared vision for change. And I want to acknowledge there are a few members of the Alliance that are part of our affinity group, including our dear colleague, Melissa Mamboquet with Build Health Challenge, who has also connected us to the great work that the Alliance is doing. So thank you, Melissa. If you are here in the room, I just want to lift you up and say thank you so much. And so the goal of our affinity group work is to really build what we're calling a funder ecosystem that is dedicated to advance equitable systems transformation. So all of the initiatives are identified as part of the affinity group, and then SIE and alongside partners works together to really to galvanize other funding partners to coalesce resources around these initiatives. And now I will say that these initiatives are actually, in fact, initiatives that are led by our nonprofit leaders and their nominated partners who are part of the affinity group. So let's take a look at that model a little deeper. There are 3 phases of this work, and thank you so much for your note, Melissa. There are 3 phases of this work. The first is really what we're calling cultivating systemic solutions. And so that is really the work of the smallest concentric circle. If you remember the visual from in the slide before, where we work with all of our nonprofit leaders to really identify a body of work that will shift mindsets, structures, and mental models that are holding inequities in place. Then we look to our funding partners within the affinity group to really endorse these initiatives. And then we go outside of the network to really work with mixed sources of capital, not just traditional philanthropy, but also investors, wealth management firms, to really coalesce resources around the initiatives that have been surfaced. The North Star, the North Star goal for this work is really around, as I mentioned before, advancing systems that, as the group has noted, that are done right, which really means that everyone in every community has what they need to thrive. We recognize that there are 6 conditions of systems change. There's the, if we can just go to the next slide, Mira, there are 6 conditions of systems change, and all of our initiatives work across all of these. So we recognize that in order to advance systems change, we need to shift policies and practices and ensure that capital flow is really coalescing around these changes to really support and sustain these efforts. And we also recognize that all of this is made possible through relationships, through addressing and shifting power dynamics, and most importantly, really addressing the mental models that hold inequities in place. And so I'm going to just quickly share just the areas of focus of our portfolio that we have developed. We have a portfolio of 18 initiatives that have been surfaced as a result of the work of our affinity group. And they span 4 focal areas around health equity, again, shifting mindsets and cultures, community power, really creating the conditions for communities to exercise their agency and power to shift institutional decisions and policy, integrated systems, making sure that sectors are working with one another and breaking down silos, and equitable access, really understanding that health is beyond healthcare, but healthcare is one part of that, that the communities that we are serving really have the access to the resources that they need to thrive. I want to just give a shout out to all of our leaders that are a part of this portfolio. We'll start with the health equity memos. We have a number of leaders, including Melissa, that are working to advance health equity. And just to highlight a few of those examples, we have the Black Zones team, Dope Labs, that are working on initiatives called the Black Zones, which partners with Brookings Institution and other key partners to really lead an effort to transform Black and tribal life expectancy. We have in the community power, this is perfect, Mira, you can go to the next slide. We have, just to highlight, we have Mayor's Movement for Guaranteed Income, which is a growing movement of over 150 mayors who understand health and income are inextricably linked. We are also working, you will hear shortly from one of our partners within the Integrated Systems memo with Rural Communities Rising. So we have Keith and Jose here to tell you more about their work. And it's really around leveraging the renewable energy paradigm in California to promote fairness, restore justice, and expand access to good jobs. And for equitable access, we have a number of initiatives underway, including one that's led by social finance to really increase access, particularly in access to nursing education, particularly in communities of color, and to connect them with jobs. So I'm going to now pass the baton to my colleagues, Jose and Keith, who can share more about the work that they are specifically leading and their experience in working with us. But as you've seen in the previous slide, we have about $120 million of initiatives that we're hard at work to coalesce support around, and we know that none of this can be done in silos and through partnerships. So really honored to be able to have Keith and Jose talk with us today.
Yes, can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
I can hear you, Jose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, just a little bit more of information beyond the small intro. I've worked here in the Central Valley all my life. I started off as a rotation engineer with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, and I did that about 6 years. Then I became a city manager, and I've been doing city management work for different cities here in the Valley for about 20-something years. And so I've been really, really in tune with all of our poor, disadvantaged farm working communities here, who have really been left behind, for at least 100 years. And so we got a combination of different things going on right now. We got farmland retirements, then we have this new energy developments that are taking place, and then now we have to, on top of that, now we have the fear of all these deportations that are being planned by our current administration, or the incoming administration, that is. And so Rural Communities Rising exists to unbrindle the power of rural communities while building trust and collectively deciding how best that they can invest their resources that will lead to some type of transformation, as has been mentioned. In addition to that, Rural Communities Rising is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to connecting, yes, rural communities that are historically have been left behind in Western Fresno County, specifically Western Fresno County. Hopefully, this will be replicated in other places. And so, with all the land retirement as mentioned, and then we have outlined at least 36 communities, 30 unincorporated, 6 incorporated communities, and I'm sure there's other little pockets out there. And we want to make sure our goal is to unite communities with some type of organized resident voices. That way they can be heard, respected, prioritized, and especially in this evolving landscape, and being fully capable to secure self-determined long-term health and well-being economic benefits. Again, our mission is to connect rural residents in Western Fresno County in order to organize, build community power, secure the health and well-being and economic benefits of our communities. And again, health and well-being is our foundation of our work that we do here. So I want to tag team with my partner, Keith.
Hey, thanks, Jose. And thank you, everybody, for letting us be part of this. And we're so grateful to SIE and Nina Kwa and Mira have been just amazing partners, I got to tell you. We share this. We feel like we're in all their priority areas. Now, they've kind of focused us a little bit, on the integrated systems, which we agree with, but we feel like we're a little bit of everything. We want to make sure you know that. We think we've got something going here that is really almost like a 1 in 100-year opportunity. And it's a flip. It's a positive flip, I think, on the normal philanthropic relationships with kinds of initiatives like ours. We actually have spent 2 years working with the Clean Air Task Force, with a number of national entities to try and understand the clean energy transition and how it's impacting our San Joaquin Valley, which is 8 counties, the most productive agriculture in the United States. But it's beginning to, really get some traction here because we have a lot of land retirements because of reduced water supply, which is already impacting our rural farm worker communities. And then to have the energy come and not benefit them just adds insult or injury to insult of the last, century, so to speak. What we've got is, through our research, we have a self-sufficient model that we've researched both on an economic, financial basis as well as community power. And what we're proposing is, and we've already created this, we actually reinstated a dead nonprofit by the name Rural Communities Rising. It is now owned here. And we're organizing in these 36 communities to create a board of directors that's representative of the farm worker residents in those communities. They will become the leaders of this nonprofit. So they will have a power base, they'll have a legitimate organization. And the reason they need to do that is Fresno County is proposed for 30 gigawatts of solar power development. It's the largest concentration in the United States. And it's because we have all this land to be retired. The idea is simply, if they can establish standing, which they can through the nonprofit and their representation, and use the stable of technical advisory partners we have, which is led by Shoma Sahab with We in the World, and we got the Clean Air Task Force, and we've got University of Texas Law at Austin, we've got the Interaction Institute for Social Change, we've got a bunch of great people, local partners as well, and help them begin to understand and be supported by this technical advisory to negotiate community benefit agreements with these huge energy projects. And to give you an idea of the magnitude, we've got a project. It's the largest project in the United States right now. It's called Darden Clean Energy. They're like 1.4 gigawatts of solar energy. It's the biggest project in the United States, single one project. There's many more of these to come. They're offering these communities $5 million in community benefits over 20 to 30 years. We have analysis already that suggests they're offering a tenth of what they could feasibly offer. The only way for these communities to get 10 times what they're being offered is to be organized and be able to negotiate these agreements with these energy developers. So part of this, to get health, to get well-being, to get economic benefit, the communities have to organize. So that's where we're going with this. The challenges are huge. The new administration is threatening our constituents and our stakeholders. We've got energy developers that don't want to play. We've got elected officials that want to grab the resources before the communities can get them. There's all kinds of things going on here. We believe we've got something that's efficacious, it's replicable, it's scalable, And so far, we have actually met with hundreds of community members, and 200 of them have signed up for our website registration. I really encourage you to look at the Rural Communities Rising website. And we are looking to have 700 to 1,000 resident members of the website by next April. They will elect their own board, and then we'll go into this really accelerated capacity building technical assistance mode. So that's kind of what we're doing, and just a lot going on here, but we think it is a unique opportunity, truly using that word the way it should be used, a unique opportunity to create a sustainable community development model in one of the poorest regions of the United States. And that should be something that has reference to other parts of the United States. Jose, can you finish up here?
Yes, so you can all see the urgency of organizing here and why we need funds, because these are urgent threats. And for all the organizing and technical assistance that we want to do and continue to do, so that these communities are able to get their fair share of resources. This is why it's so important, and our partnerships are so important. And so the last thing I'll say is this is something that can certainly be scalable, as Keith alluded to, and we would like to see this replicated in all parts of the U.S. and abroad. So thank you so much for all your time and dedication.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Keith and Jose. And Angie, I would love to do a quick time check with you, if that's okay.
Or you have like 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes? Okay, wonderful. Thank you. That would be great. So I want to just thank you all for the wonderful shout outs that you've given in the chat, for the incredible work that Keith and Jose are leading. Just want to create space if you have any questions, and then we just have one question that we'll pose to you all as a group.
I'll ask a question to Keith and Jose. I'm Kelly. I work with the Alliance as part of a team of a firm called Shared Cause. And, I'm curious, you mentioned certainly we know the external challenges and the headwinds that are here and coming. As you talked about cultivating community board members, what are the subtle and maybe some not so explicit challenges that come along with building true community power and representation? It's very hard to do. It sounds like easy, where you gather 700 community members to vote on a board, but are there any just a short lesson or two, or a takeaway or two of things to look out for, things to guide others on? Because it's really a phenomenal model, and I just really want to congratulate you two on that.
Jose, you want me to start and then you could finish up?
Yeah, sure.
So we're actually training people to use relational organizing skills, how to do one-to-one meetings, discern self-interest, to understand the other, to work with the other, and also group facilitation skills. So the idea is we're hoping, and we're bringing in some really powerful organizational development folks, especially from Interaction Institute for Social Change, once they're formed, to literally give them governance skills, organizational skills, communication skills, deliberative skills they haven't had to use before, right? And then support them in that. And it is hard. I don't want to tell anybody leave. We are up against it in every single aspect of this, but I have to tell you, we're meeting people out there that are brilliant, and they're ready for someone to believe in them and help them have power. Jose?
Yes, that's absolutely right. And the core piece here is, of course, building trust. And because a lot of these folks have been over the years, you've had people even that are on their side that have always come in and said, I want, a piece of the pie that I'm going to go after for you. And by then hearing what we're doing and saying, you don't want anything in return from us? No. We want you to elevate your own voice. We want all the money that we're going to go out there and champion for you, and that you're going to help yourself champion for. All that money is going for you, and you get to use that any which way you need to. And so that's why it requires a lot of these meetings and one-to-ones, and of course, identifying those leaders that Keith mentioned, because once they become believers, then they start to recruit, and they got standing, and all this other great stuff starts to wrap around. So thank you for that
One
question.
other point, Kelly, in relation to your question. For example, there's a group of women out in the Western Fresno County area called Las Panchas. And they are amazing, but no one's ever invested in their skill development. They keep coming to these meetings and they're starting to plan their own skill development and elevation as getting into policy and resource rather than just complaint, and advocacy. There's so much talent out here, so much talent.
Yeah,
I think that's key. And I think this also goes to directing philanthropic resources to fund that kind of capacity and training. And so I know SIE is keen on that, but that's a huge need that you're lifting up. So thank you so much.
Yeah, some landmines that you guys can, that we've kind of stepped on is that if we start talking about, bringing the majority of resources from outside, a lot of these folks are going to say, well, isn't there more, talent locally that you can use? And so balancing all that out is a very key. I just wanted to share.
Thank you so much for the question, Kelly. And thank you so much for the energy and just the expertise that you bring to this work, Keith and Jose. Very much appreciate it. I definitely want to be mindful of time because I know that you have another portion of the agenda to reflect on our changing context. And so if I can just highlight just in this last minute that we have, I just wanted to just share that I'm very appreciative, we at SIE, of working alongside the Alliance because, as you could imagine, there's so much synergy in the work. And so given the great expertise that you all carry on this call, I'm just going to put 2 questions in the chat for you to reflect on, and it won't be to take away from this agenda at all, but if you wouldn't mind just reflecting and perhaps sharing if you are okay with this, but sharing your thoughts afterwards with Angie, that would be wonderful. So the first question is, recognizing one of the honors that we have at SIE is to work with incredible leaders like Keith and Jose and others on this call and within our network to really coalesce resources around their work. So the first question is, from your vantage point, how might the field of public health and philanthropy equip people to lead during these times? And the second question is really around our emerging partnership, SIE, with the Alliance. The Alliance, given the amazing work that you are doing as part of this network, it would be great to hear from you what issue or areas of focus might the Alliance elevate to include as part of our broader portfolio for systems change. Now, again, I don't want to take away any more time from your agenda, but if you wouldn't mind just reflecting on those questions, we would really appreciate it. And I'm going to put them in the chat.
Thank you sincerely. Thank you sincerely.
And thank you all so much for joining. It was really great. And I think please also, if you want to reflect on the questions that Naniqua just put in the chat, then everybody can kind of see what we're thinking, though chat will keep running even if we don't record. But I'm so excited to hear what's going on in California. And Naniqua, we're so glad to have a chance to partner with you and Mira and the Social Impact Exchange, and really look forward to hearing from all of us how we can find other amazing lessons like what we just learned around training and just the exciting things happening in California and around the country. And really great to keep seeing what happens with all the other projects that you're funding. I know there's going to be a lot of really great stuff for all of us to learn from and hopefully get a chance to lift up and share. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Much appreciated.
So much. Great. So one thing we wanted to do, and I think we've started to reference it, but just since we've met last, we also have had, an election, which seems a long time ago and also like it just happened. And just wanted to take a chance to, hear from all of you all, to have a chance to reflect. We know this is still a